Dear colleagues, I think we can start. I would like first...
Thank you very much for excellent lunch. It was really so inspiring, and many people, and excellent dish. Absolutely European. Me, usually, I agree. No complaint. Not for first time, not for lunch. Now, it depends from you what be about second part.
Okay.
This one goes to the Ministry for Regional Development and...
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yes, and I wanted to start with the thanks to the Ministry and also to Roman for organizing this morning event.
The support of our secretary.
Of course, that goes without...
It was this time more of Roman, because she coordinated everything internally, so yes, the credits, most of the credits go to Roman.
Yes, I can say in my behalf that for me it was useful to hear what is going on in Czech Republic, because very often we are focused on our own countries and European level, and if we don't have some partnership projects or similar in some area, we don't know what is going on. So for me it's also interesting to hear the problems that occur, because sometimes we think that only we have certain problems, so it's a little bit easier that you hear that in other countries have similar problems, but also to see how we can solve it or influence that it could be better. So I think before we go to the concrete text, we can maybe have some general comments on what we would like to see in the document, what might be missing, or on what maybe to put a little bit more emphasis. I think the text is in really almost final stage, but as we are now on the second study group, I think we can contribute to be improved. I would also like to apologize for not being at the first study group, because I was in Brussels, but I just that morning found out that I had COVID, so I couldn't participate. So I would like then to open the floor for the general comments, suggestions, if you have one, before we go to the concrete. Maybe first, before that, I would like to hear from you, David and Florian, if you have some comments or suggestions on your own text after having these comments, workshops, but also we have some in writing suggestions which I think are welcome. So I would like to hear from you and Florian, and then from other colleagues.
Thank you for the floor, Lydia. And once more, colleagues, welcome in Prague again, and hopefully you will enjoy your stay. And at the beginning, I'd like to thank you a lot, my co-rapporteur, because Mr. Florian was really helpful and he's really productive. So thank you very much. It was, I think, mutually very nice cooperation. So thank you for that. Also, of course, Secretariat helps us with the organizing a lot of meetings. We had two very fruitful meetings with the European Commission representatives. We had meetings with associations like Eurotowns and other similar institutions which are relevant to this discussion. For me, it's the most difficult thing is to set up the right press through this opinion to the Commission to somehow initiate more stronger support of the urban agenda financially. I think that's something what is missing in the system, that it's only voluntary based on the member states' contribution and cities' contributions, and without real financial support from the European level. And it was a hard discussion with colleagues. Even after the second meeting with them, we received some new comments. Maybe we will go through the document, so I will comment it in detail. But generally, I think we as a Commission, we should express our opinion, and we should say that if we believe in it, that such good activity as European Agenda is, that it needs support. And without this support, it can end this 14th thematic partnership without real continuation, without real results. So this is my opinion, to stress it more. But we can do it maybe when we will read the text and maybe stress it more during our discussion. Thank you, and maybe Florian.
Thank you, David. Much of the document has been already presented in the morning, at least the conclusion. What I would like to add to the text, and has been already sent to my colleague, the rapporteur, David, is there are some mention linked to the action plans, because the action plans are important for the implementation of the thematic partnership, and they were mentioned, but not necessarily in a specific way in the opinion. Some referrals linked to the fair involvement of the stakeholders, because we are seeing some of stakeholders which are more involved and more active, and the others are not. So I think that we need to enlarge a little bit, as I have already said in the morning, to enlarge a little bit the involvement of the stakeholders, and the coordination of the action plans, because we are seeing that we have action plans, but in the cohesion policy there is no link between action plans and the operational program, for example, or the action plans and the partnership agreement. In some cases there are, but they are isolated cases. So since we have this, I think that as I have already mentioned, and David has already mentioned in the morning, the cohesion policy and the thematic partnership should be more synergical in the implementation area. Increasing transparency and better communication, we think that is important, and I have already mentioned. Social reconstruction should be also taken into account. It's a big debate, but I think that social reconstruction should be mentioned. And digital democracy. So this is it. If you have specific questions, I do not want to repeat what I have already said in the morning. So if you have specific questions to me or to David, we are at your disposal. Thank you so much.
Thank you to rapporteur and co-rapporteur. Some general comments in regards to the text or what we heard this morning. Yes, please.
Hello, thank you very much. My name is Sanja Rinek. I work at this Ministry of Regional Development, and it is my pleasure to cooperate with my colleagues from the European Economic and Social Committee. And I would like to express our gratitude for this so far great cooperation we had on this opinion. And we are pleased that the Commission is not focusing on, the committee is not focusing only on our original question that was basically just aimed at how to improve the, let's say, partnership approach within the and how help the, let's say, to civil society to be better presented in the partnerships, that we are focusing also not only on these two partnerships, but on future partnerships that will come, I believe, during the Spanish presidency in the next year, second half of next year. And it is important. I have basically two main points I would like to stress out here today, that we focus on Right now we have a good timing. It is not the right way to say that the European Commission would not want to have the outcomes of the partnership in the cohesion policy, but in past partnerships it was simply sometimes not possible because these outcomes were presented too late often. But right now we have a good opportunity, because the outcomes of these partnerships will be ready, let's say, maybe not next year, but the year after, and it's still time for us to include them in the future cohesion policy. So I think this is an important point to be presented in this opinion, and I'm happy that it's going in the right direction. And my second point is that how do we actually improve the participation of citizens and NGOs in future partnerships? There's a question always of the capacities at the city level and finances for us to do this. Today in the morning there were some colleagues from Ostrava, and they have great experience with how to include the, let's say, civic society with their projects, and it's always about their capacity to, let's say, plan some event at the local level, or to simply, it's not just a question like that they will ask the citizens and they will provide their opinion, but they have to work carefully to have it in the right strategy, to have it in a kind of like nice way that is understandable for civil society, that is not familiar as we are with this topic. So for this, we might use some opportunities, and the most important thing is that in future there might be some funds and opportunities from the European Urban Initiative. And it might be the right time for us to point out this, that the European Urban Initiative might be some kind of help in this process and might provide support for our partnerships. And I believe the European Commission is pretty much progressing with the proposal of European Urban Initiative, and it might be ready in the second half of this year or late this year. So it's also the right timing for this opinion to express this point. I'm sorry, I wanted to be brief, so...
No, take your time.
I might have told you too much already. But these are basically the two main points me and my colleagues had on our mind. So I'm happy that I can present these opinions here today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I mean, those who have a real experience in thematic partnership, there it is crucial to hear those experiences. And as I hope I learned it right, that Czech Republic was involved in thematic partnership for urban mobility. So. That would also, if you have comment on how it works and what was the obstacles, maybe that would be also a good time to say it, just at least for the better understanding of functioning.
Of course, I think it was already mentioned in the morning that we had some active members. It was a great cooperation with them, but we have some members that were maybe even sometimes expecting something else from the partnership that time. So I believe in future we won't have that amount of not active members anymore, because cities are now maybe more, let's say, familiar with what the partnerships are about. But I think it's a question of timing. If we present to the partnerships, like they always ask, cities always ask, why should we be part of this? So then if we tell them that it's the way how you can help yourself in future in next cohesion policy, but maybe we might not need to focus only on the cohesion policy, but sometimes it's a question of, let's say, legal documents for if we take a partnership on greening cities, considering the environment. Or if I go really into the practical point, we've been just talking with my colleague from Ostrava about that they are facing some problems with the blue and green infrastructure. And in future, we might provide them some help if those partnerships will initiate the legislative process at the European level. So if the cities will be given this possibility or given this message that by their participation they can actually change and somehow like reduce the problems they are facing, this might be the right message to them. And in past, this message was, let's say, not obvious from the partnership. So I think this was one of the mistakes we faced in past.
And, sorry, I occupied maybe also too much, but did you have experience in this thematic partnership with other networks? Because it was mentioned other forms of networks, for example, Civitas or Civinets or something like that. Were they involved? Because it's a huge movement in Europe, on European level, Civitas, and then national or regional Civinets. I know there is Czech-Slovak Civinet as well.
I'm not working exactly on this.
Okay.
Because I've been pretty much working a lot with the Urbact initiative.
Okay.
And this is also another opportunity for us maybe in future to look how it's not only Urbact, it's also urban innovative actions, how these things are connected. So I think this might also work for Civitas the same way. And like, if I should provide some practical example, Urbact is greatly successful in providing their opinion and documents on priority topics, whether it's the urban CLD, they had a document just on this topic, and it's nice if we join forces in this way. So partnership, Urbact, Civitas, Eurocities can focus on the same topic, and their collaboration, then maybe it's easier for them to join forces, and finances and the outcome can be stronger and better heard at the European and national level.
Yes, thank you for that comment. That is also my personal opinion, because we have too many initiatives that are very often not coordinated. And for example, I would say that Civitas or Urbact is much more known in the member states than thematic partnership. That is my opinion. So in that sense, they should be more visible, more cooperative, and really this support is needed, what is already mentioned. Yeah. So, David, yes, sure.
Thank you very much for your inputs. I think both of them are really relevant, so we will incorporate it more into the opinion, if of course study group agrees. My personal experience is from Ostrava, because I live close to Ostrava. We will visit some of you Ostrava in October. So hopefully you will enjoy it. And the city is really extraordinary because it's all industrial city, and with the new government and new city leadership, it starts to behave in different way than other cities. It really new mayors start to involve people in a planning process. I was directly in a process as a consultant for this, so it was good experience for me. And we involved more than 7,000 inhabitants directly into the process with their opinion how to make a city better for living. And a lot of different stakeholders and companies and entities we involved in a very unusual way of cooperation through different ways. And at the end there was a plan which was presented to the General Assembly of the city, and no one was against, because everybody saw how the process was strong, that everybody agrees, and there were such huge projects planned in a strategy like new music hall, for example, really huge project for whole city. And at the moment, because of strategy, they done all the preparation, and we are asking sources from this just transition mechanism from the third level. There is an EIB loan support, and we are asking for such European money, and it all began 5 years ago because of good cooperation of many people in the city. So this is something I really believe in, that the participation really helps make the strategy relevant for future.
I would just add that political will is also needed.
Of course,
Now
leadership, political is the most important thing. Yeah.
Because what I face that there is a will among people about among stakeholders, and a lot of activities are done, and then on the political level nothing happens. So I think it's also
one short example yet: the urban innovative European Urban Initiative. This tool which supports thematic partnership with these innovative sources. There was only one successful project in the Czech Republic, and it was in Ostrava for a special treatment of trees and plants, which helps to clean the air. Because we had a problem with dust in the air, and through the research, we plant the trees in a way which helps like clean the air, and the results are excellent at the moment. So now we are showing to the other cities in Europe how to do it, to have like with very cheap solution, better air for inhabitants. Just an example again from Ostrava.
Any other comments at this point? Roman, would you like to jump in now? Or
I obtained the comments from Mr. Jelinek by email. I had the possibility to send it to some people which were somehow active in the thematic partnership in Czech Republic. So I have some comments which I tried to incorporate to the text. I gave it to David and a co-reporter. We can speak about it in the process.
The process, okay. So I would just have one maybe general comment, and that this opinion we can also use as educational tool, in the sense that those readers who are not so familiar, that they can understand what is going on. In that sense, I think maybe it will be good to explain what the thematic partnerships are, because we were saying about these topics, thematic topics, but at least maybe I'm wrong, but when I was reading several times, I couldn't see this connection between thematic partnership, because if somebody don't know, it can think that it's a thematic partnership on the level of regions, or on the level like local actions group and so on. So maybe that might be. And one thing, I'm of course not insisting, I'm just putting on the table maybe one chapter, and I don't know how far we went with the number of letters.
To delete something also?
Yes, I know. I am aware, that's why I'm mentioning about maybe why some partnerships were good and working, and why some are not. Just maybe one comment. And I think that we might also, but we can go through text, mention these already existing tools and networks like CLLD. I think today it was important that we remind ourselves about this tool, and networks like Civitas, program like Urbact, so they can be used as well as tools for, for example, Urbact has a lot of tools, guidelines that can be used, and in regards to localization of SDGs and some things. So, you know, this I think it might be also be included. So, and I don't know if you want to mention something about what we receive from this. I don't know what is Georgios, if you can help me. Julian is from which of
Eurotowns.
Yeah, so they also put some good, I think, comments.
I think we'll go through.
Yes, I just want that we don't forget it. Okay, so then we can, I think, go through the text, and we shall start with 2 general comments, and then we shall go back to the conclusions. We shall not read all of them. I will just mention the numbers of the chapters, so if somebody has something to add, it will be good. So in regards to general comments, I think in the beginning it's more or less clear, but okay, is there any comments at 2.1? 2.2? Yes.
I have a proposition to delete whole 2.2.
Okay.
Because we need paragraphs, we need, letters, and
Okay.
okay.
And you, Roman, you also wanted.
Yeah, and 2.1, there was comment from the consultation with the European Commission just to rename a new phase of the urban agenda for the EU. The first, you see, the first sentence, they commented this one.
To delete or what?
No, to rename.
Yeah, to rename. It's just wording. Okay,
Just wording.
We will
Okay.
make it correct because sometimes we use European Union Urban Agenda in written form. Sometimes there is an abbreviation.
Okay.
So
Okay, so
do it
to
in the same
have the same.
You need to put first the urban agenda for the EU and in
Then in
brackets
commas.
UIAU, and then in the whole text again UIAU, not to repeat the same.
Yes, that's also general comment. Sometimes it's first abbreviation, somewhere there is not the full name, so that should be.
In the beginning, the full name, so anyone knows then that this
Yes.
is the same thing.
I also found some abbreviation that are not explained, and if you don't know, even if you Google, you can't find it.
different one.
Okay, so you would like to delete 2.2. Anybody against this, or you agree? Okay. Then 2.3. 2.4.
There was,
Yes.
there was one also, I composed the
Yes,
comments
yes.
from others.
Go ahead.
So 2.4 was the idea to do it, the Lugano agreement adds the following 4 themes to above 14 mentioned.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, so this list of priority themes,
Yeah, just wording.
Yeah. You have it? You want it? I will send it to you.
We saw the document from the commission, it was already inserted.
It's a new version. It's a set.
No, they just sent that in a revision mode. Some small changes, like one word they changed.
Okay.
I think it's not so important. Just more clear.
Okay.
The meaning is the same.
Okay, so you accepted that.
Yeah.
Okay. 2.5. Okay, so we finish. Why? So we have 2 general comments. Yes. In the title, 2 general comments and 3
2 and 3 general comments. We need to change it to specific comments.
Yeah.
Okay. Who did it?
Yeah,
It was background.
Yeah.
Originally, it was background. Sorry.
Background.
And into the background, we should probably put some information about the thematic partnership itself.
Yes.
Yeah? What is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, we have to take into account the number of characters. Already so many, so.
I know, but it's about thematic partnership, the whole document, and I think it should be explained,
Yeah, okay. Perhaps a phrase could be.
Yeah, I think it should
I'm
be,
very sure,
because
Yes.
it should be clear that now we have 14 and that now it's called for 2 additional and so on, and that those readers understand that they can apply. Actually, I have one question. These 14, they will be renewed or not? I couldn't.
Some of them are continuing, but only because of them, they want to continue. It's voluntary,
I know, but
but there is not such huge support from the Commission. They support them somehow, also with this technical assistance, some consultancy they have chosen for this work, but they focus on a new one.
Okay, no continuity real. Okay, then 3 general comments. 3.1. 3.2.
Not necessary, but if you want to.
3.3. 3.4.
No complaint.
I have actually one in sentence transferring results to other regions. I think we should maybe clear what kind of results. Is it action, good practices from the, no?
The thematic partnership, Lydia, if you allow me, thematic partnership, each thematic partnership is making a concrete action plan. It's making a concrete action plan. It's supposed to do it.
Yeah.
And the results of the thematic partnership, which can be studies, can be, I don't know, innovating tools and things like that. So perhaps it is better to mention the results of the thematic partnership, just to be clear that...
Or something like that, because it's near, or the implementation of action plan, or something like that. So
the entire opinion is dealing with thematic partnership. So anyway, but we can mention.
Yeah, but sometimes some comments are on the level of policy, sometimes on level of thematic partnership, so it should be clear to readers what...
Okay, understood. You are right.
Okay. 3.5. 3.6.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have. I'm on the French version of the text, and it spoke about
3.6.
3.6. Yes. It spoke about competitiveness. I don't know if it's the term.
Fair competition.
Fair competition. Okay. In French, well, maybe it's. In French, we have a word. On parle d'équité. We were talking about équité, and it means balance, regular access. I don't know if.
It's different. Fair competition means loyal competition.
Yeah.
Équité, c'est la justice sociale.
Égalité,
oui, c'est comme ça. Mais ici, c'est une compétition loyale.
C'est ça, voilà.
Ça.
D'accord. Ok. Enfin, si c'est, moi, je soulève juste sur le plan linguistique. En français, ça me paraîtrait plus logique de marquer d'indiquer équité ou comment dire.
The idea, if you allow me, Mr. Lefebvre, is that a fair competition should be between the cities, because right now in the thematic partnerships, some cities are more present than the other, and the others, which are not so well experimented, and they want to be part of the thematic partnership.
Okay, I understand. Sometimes you need to go further to.
Yeah. This was the idea.
Try to reach a balanced situation. Okay.
In order to assure the cities which are not part, just to be part in some of them. This is why we are promoting also the technical secretary, which a secretary, dedicated secretariat, which is a great idea. Not so well received by the Commission, if I can say like this, but I think it's needed to have. So say. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is it correct French translation?
Yes. It was just the approach, which is French for me, but it's okay.
Because sometimes the translation is not just then I write to translation.
No problem.
Okay.
Thank you.
3.7. Yes.
To 3.6.
Okay.
Because probably this is one of the paragraph when it's suited well. This is Eurocount's comments, and maybe I will read it short. Equal access to funds should be guaranteed by simplifying procedures, as well as creating specific funding programs for small and medium-sized cities. So they are trying to push the idea that there should be some mechanism how to involve also small and medium-sized cities with some financial support. So we will such sentence probably somewhere incorporated in the text. Yes,
Yes, I think it might be good. And when we actually, there was this online workshop on last Thursday on digitalization. Your Zezulkova, she participated, and it was put focus on small and medium towns as well. So I think in that sense we can add some.
Just one minor aspect. In the Ljubljana Agreement, it is mentioned that we must have some small towns. This is an obligativity, one. And the second, for example, as Roman said earlier, we can have a specific instrument to link to the small town. In Romania, we have CLLD for small towns, for example, for small urban communities. So it is not forbidden to do it.
Yeah, okay.
Perhaps we can push more, but it is not forbidden right now. Some members say they already have it. Not because if you're looking at the structure of the thematic partnership, in almost each thematic partnership, it is a small community. It is a small urban area, but not necessarily that they are small because there is an obligativity to be there. Not necessarily that they want to be involved. So I think that we should be very careful when we put in this. We are amending this. Of course, special instruments for small urban communities can be kept, in my opinion.
Yes, Nabil.
Yes, because it seems to me a bit related to 3.4, the last sentence, which says that cities should be motivated and incentivized to use European development opportunities. So maybe it can be, either stressed in one of those paragraphs, to incentivize via the specific tools or something like this. So I just, found out this, correlation between those two.
Thank you. Any comment on 3.6? Okay. 3.7.
maybe there was a general comment from the European Commission that it's about what is the role of the thematic partnership, and because for example, we recommend the exchange of the best practices, including cooperation model and so on, and they just discuss with us that it's not probably the main issue, main task of this thematic partnership. So sometimes they pushed us also to delete these parts. But on the other hand, it's natural result of the partnership that you produce something what is worthy to disseminate among the other partners. So at the moment we wrote it in this way, and we want to stay on this wording.
I have a question. When you say transnational thematic partnership, what you think on which kind of? It was not first when I read it was okay, but then later on it posed me a question.
Transnational thematic partnership, if you allow me, it's dealing with the coverage of the partnership along the Europe. Because we can have thematic partnership is so in the Brussels bubble, if I can say it like this. Some cities which are very good and they are delivering, but if you are, I think that we need to have more territorial coverage, and we need to have as many nationalities as we can in each thematic partnership, because the topics are quite different. The idea of the Commission is that it is important to have some big cities which are very experimented. They are innovating and they are transferring the innovation to other cities. But no city is similar to other. So the specificity is very big among the cities. So I don't think that this is necessarily the right approach. Yes, we can discuss about some framework of indicators which can assure a broader and a more efficient transfer of the knowledge. But again, if you are looking at the cultural aspect and of the specificity of each city, it's not necessarily possible. And we are seeing this also in the rural area. It's the same situation. And I don't think that to put in the front of the thematic partnership the biggest and the most innovative cities in the European Union will solve the problem. It's just my impression. Because we are seeing almost every time the same city, the same city, cities which are being present. And I'm not sure if, life in Bucharest is different than the life in Barcelona. I can tell you that, but it doesn't mean that Bucharest, for example, it's not necessarily so well correlated with the European agenda. No.
I completely agree with you, Florian. It's not the question, but just when you put transnational thematic partnership, it can open the question, okay, so we have thematic partnership and now we have transnational. So that was the problem when reading.
Could be confusing.
Yeah, so I think you should rephrase it because, what is now? So I didn't know that there are other thematic partnerships. It's just wording,
Actually, if everyone is agreed, we can cut it because we have a character in excess. So we are happy to cut
I agree because it might be confusing. Yes, please.
If I can, it got me into another point, and that is I've just tried to briefly search through the opinion, but what was important thing discussed during our meeting with the European Commission and European Urban Knowledge Network is that our presidency should be some kind of, let's say, we are steering this process also with the European Commission, and we should take a close look that not only the old member states are represented, but also the new member states. And what might be included, maybe not in this point, possibly, is the balanced geographical coverage of the partnership.
It is mentioned.
It is mentioned.
Even more, I put it.
Excellent.
You will see.
Yes, because we talk later about election process and so on, but here the focus is that we don't confuse people that there are some other kind of thematic. Okay.
Thank you.
3.8.
There was again short remark from the European Commission. They offer in the second sentence that adapted, there is written financial instruments, grant or funds, and they offer to use the word support, like adapted support, and not be so precise and so
About
concrete.
financial.
But I would offer to use support, but then in commas use financial instruments and other, because it's clear it's about money at the end, not only support with some technical assistance. Clever.
We can just put adapted financial instruments without grants and funds.
Because
maybe
they were against.
They were against, yeah. But financial instruments sometimes are not grants, but those are these instruments. So we wanted also mention like grants and funds because it's what is necessary.
So they would like adapted financial support or what they...
Yeah. I have some offer here. I'm sorry, I can't.
What is different? Instruments and support?
No. Financial instrument is an instrument under a CIF, meaning that the money are being spent, they are giving a loan more or less. They are giving the money, you are spending, and then you are...
This is the official...
maybe instruments and or...
They don't want us to mention financial instruments, grants and funds. They want us to mention only support, general support.
And then without finance.
Without this. That means all. But we wanted to say that it should be financial support.
The idea is that support for them is mean technical assistance. Support for us is meaning money.
Exactly.
That's right.
Yeah, we can put it adapted support and then including financial in the
support, but in commas I will
include
variable support.
Exactly.
Okay, 3.9.
3.9.
Yes.
Instruments such as integrated ITI and community-led local development.
Yes, that's absolutely. Do we have such some other instruments?
We have lags, but it's not here.
What?
We have lags, but it's not here.
I didn't hear you. What?
LAX, local action.
Lax, that's CLLD.
This is CLLD.
Technically, there are other territorial tools.
Yes, that's what, because we have three, ITI, territorial, that was, Mr. Sershan was talking, I think, about that, territorial to add.
But it's specialty of the Czech Republic, probably.
I'm not aware if it's in.
Is it only for Czech Republic?
It's only in.
Okay.
Actually,
In a general regulation of the funds, there are only these two
Okay.
tools.
And the commissioner promoted.
actually, your country is so advanced in planning the instrument and linking the instrument with the territorial specificity. Really, I think, in my opinion, you are, and I have some years in this, you are the most advanced member state in this category, in my opinion.
It's good to hear. Thank you.
Yeah, no, if you're looking at ITI, for example, we have only ITI in Romania, and it's linked to the Danube Delta. They have built only a bridge, and that's it. So it's a good bridge anyway. It's only a bridge.
Okay, yeah, asphalt, it's something that our local politicians like very much. And concrete, yeah.
Concrete for
And asphalt, yeah. Okay, 310, we have comments from Eurotown. Will you tell David? I think it's good comment.
Yeah, 310. They suggest to include at the end, where we have these technologies 4.0, industry 5.0, and or in Web3 technologies, to add as well as in social innovation.
Yeah,
That's, I think, very good suggestion.
Yeah.
Okay, 311,
Sure.
you have the will, please.
Yes, I would like to include the third line, talking about access to quality education. I would like to include the word inclusive education, because it is also a very important aspect. And then I think the last sentence from 3.6 paragraph, that EEC strongly recommends that reducing new forms of social economic inequalities be a priority. Maybe it could be, more relevant together with this paragraph. Because we are talking here about the vulnerable groups and aspects that should be included. But I mean, it's just, suggestion, not very.
we're mentioning it a lot, vulnerable cities, vulnerable regions, working class. So the social aspect is really, it is present.
And I very much appreciate this.
This is why we're free groups. But anyway, yes, if David is okay.
Yeah, I've just transferred it from 3.6 to
Because I think it will be more relevant in the sense of,
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, 312. Okay, 313. I have question here. We mentioned European strategic goals, and it's not very clear on which goals we think. Is it from new strategy agenda for the EU, or it's urban agenda?
I can tell you perhaps the wording can be changed. I can tell you European strategic goal, it's in our view, it's our SDGs, European Pillar of Social Rights, and other strategies which are gravitating, near thematic partnership, but they are not really taken into account.
Yeah, but you have to, because we have new strategy agenda and they have strategic goals. So we have goals in urban agenda, so it should be clear. And I think we might use these footnotes and give link or something like that. I mean, footnotes are also counting in the words.
Yeah, there.
Yeah, I know, but this is really not clear on which goals you think. Sorry. And 314.
Maybe when we need characters, maybe this 3.13 we can maybe delete also.
Which one? 313. Yes, I think.
Yes, but the additionality principle I think should be mentioned somehow, because it is important, since we are discussing about funding and so on.
314?
313. But it should be more clear.
Yeah, okay, we will do that
Yeah,
somehow.
okay.
Yes.
Then 314.
I have one sentence as a last one. If you will agree, in the future, we can imagine increasing for 15%.
What can you repeat? I didn't get.
In the future, we can imagine increasing for 15%.
Oh, yeah.
Why not?
We can imagine.
We can, but it's only a dream.
Yeah, but you know, we have to push something, to kick something, and then maybe somebody.
I would not say 15, but even more.
I will say
Because if you are looking at the territorial distribution of the resources and the pollution and the waste and so on, I think that the proposal is the logical one, in my opinion. Because otherwise you will...
No, I don't have anything against.
Yeah, but the Commission was against also mentioning in 1%, not necessarily big amount, you know.
We can have dreams and ideas.
We can dream.
If the entire, it's the committee's opinion, if the entire study group is willing to do it, we can do it. It's for me.
Let's do it then.
With the reasoning, why you ask 15 and not 20?
Because 80% of the...
That's why I say it could be increased, not put the exact.
Let's cut from 5 to 8, legally right. From 5 to 8%, and let's be increasing, that's it.
Yeah, I think
it was a discussion also between us.
So this urban earmarking could be higher.
Higher, yeah, in that sense. Or maybe we can say based on needs or something like that.
Everyone has needs, Lydia. No, based on needs.
Okay.
And we will discuss that mine are more important than yours, and yours are more important.
315. I have a question, because we said thematic partnership needs to directly contribute to strengthening the resilience and responsiveness to asymmetric shocks. So maybe just put one sentence how we can do through thematic.
The results, it's their raison d'etre, if I can say like this.
I know, but okay, through action plan or through some...
Because the action plan is integrated, and every thematic partnership has to have some results.
Okay.
But the thematic partnership weren't, in my opinion, connected with the shocks.
I know, because...
And we are saying this, they're supposed to be. Every thematic partnership should take into account the shocks may appear. Cohesion policy is not...
Yeah, I don't mind that, but it's just directly contribute, you know, that's why I ask how directly contribute. Maybe just to contribute, not directly, because that is not so clear.
Yes.
That was my, that's why I posed.
Okay.
Okay.
This is the last, 15, then you go to 4.
Yes.
So I have one question. If we don't, I know that we have a limit with the letters, but what I am missing, and I think it has to be in general comments, is because for the readers, as you said, we didn't describe the thematic partnerships. There are several programs which the people don't know, and the question is if we have to explain them or not. I will say you. URBACT, European Urban Initiative, GPI Urban, UDG, DGUM, UATPG, and this, which we work with somehow. Yeah. Do we need to...
Can we make a vocabulary at the end?
Yeah, that's what, actually, that was my question too. Georgios, is it possible to have a vocabulary without calculating in the numbers of characters. Because there are so many, you know.
Why 18,000 characters? We need to increase it.
You can ask for Palmieri to make, to raise the
No.
interrogation of characters, but let's see how you...
No, it was a joke.
Because everything, it can be an annex, like...
Yeah, annex, no annex, because annex it has to be in the opinion.
but it's
Otherwise, it's not translated, it's nothing.
Yeah, because
Have to
that's...
take into account, if you allow me, Lydia, that
Yes.
the opinion is linked to the thematic partnerships, not to the entire urban instrument.
Exactly.
I know you are right, you are right.
Work with them, agree with.
But we mention it in here, and actually, if you are not an expert, your head start to spin of this, all this.
It's not an easy, it's rather technical because we both are technical, so.
No, but that was really my thought when I was reading that we need some explanation or. But if we put all that, will be a lot of characters. So, but we have certainly.
Or perhaps we can mention that we need a sort of campaign and to mention in brackets, between brackets, I don't know, 1 or 2 instruments necessary to mention them all.
But it's also how, you know, we use a lot of these instruments, programs, and it would be easier that on one place. But certainly we have what we discussed in the beginning, full name in the beginning, and then...
But all these instruments are already in a previous opinion, so maybe you can just make the linkage to Roman's opinions on CLLD, on ITI, everything, so not to repeat again the same things in this opinion.
That's why I say it, because if you say C18 maybe, we want to be should become part of the urban development group and the urban agenda technical preparatory group. So we speak about something, but the reader will not know what is it. You understand?
But the people who will read the opinion know what is UDG or what is because this opinion is more specific, has more technical issues. Not someone from the, I don't know where, from just civil society will take and read this opinion, learn something. It's more technical one, more specific one.
How many characters are there?
You know, I just tried to describe maybe 10 or 12 shortages, which are somehow acronyms for some programs.
Let's cut from the background then, let's mention it.
Yeah,
Because in my opinion, it's taking too much characters and it's not saying too much. Let's have, I don't know, if you are all agreed.
We can cut something more from the background, but it's this educational role of this.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but the opinion, it is a question. The opinion should have an educational role. We as a committee, we are trying to educate the stakeholders, or we are delivering solutions. It's
both, I would say.
okay.
Yeah, because, for example, on my website of my organization, we have sub-page dedicated to the committee.
Yeah, but, sorry, it is not published in the official journal.
What?
What we are working here, it will be published. I think it's also the exploratory opinion are published.
Yeah, of course, everything is published.
Yeah, but you know, I mean, I put on our website Croatian version with small description because, I mean, small cities and cities at all, they have everyday problem. They don't go so often to read ESC or, you know. So in that sense, it's good to have also this, that's, I would say, our role towards our mission in member states, you know.
On the other hand, this topic is so wide, so complex, that we can't cover everything.
No,
maybe we'll choose some of the most important points.
Yeah, but in this case, again, we can cut from the background.
Yeah, we will cut
in the background, we are saying almost the same thing. So perhaps this paragraph should be in the background, or I don't know. But we can cut, it's just I'm suggesting it.
No, we are just discussing, you know, so I don't think that both of us are insisting. Yeah. Okay, are we done with chapter 3? We can go then to 4 specific comments and recommendations. 4.1, which is...
Again, you have to rephrase the headings, because now 4, you say again specific comments, recommendations. We have 3 specific comments, and the recommendations we have also in chapter 1.
Yeah.
There are conclusions, recommendations. You need to...
Okay.
Only specific
Yeah.
comments.
Comments.
And on 3, what will be?
General comment.
And on 2, background.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
background, okay.
We'll follow the classical.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
2. 1 are recommendation, conclusion and recommendation. Okay? 1. The second is background.
Okay.
The third is our general comments.
Okay.
And the fourth are specific comments.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, 4.1. It's about selecting partners.
I have.
Yes, David, please.
This is exactly, if this is a paragraph that is talking about, you know, civil society organizations and their possibilities to be included, I think it is very necessary also to mention, maybe the last sentence could be the one, you know, the need for raising capacity of those organizations, also not only motivation and encouragement, but also the capacity building for them to be efficiently, you know, participating in the process itself.
It was a debate between us that also the Commission, it was not necessarily keen to, because we have pushed already in asking money for the operational capacity and so on, and they have motivated that if you are part of a thematic partnership, you should be able to deliver. So you will not cross the selection process if you don't have enough capacity. So I think it's the perspective of those thematic partnerships. I'm totally agreed with you. Mm-hmm. We need to invest a lot in operational capacity. But if you're looking, we can put it in the opinion. It was in the past, but again, they were really against this because they have a point. Meaning that, of course, if you are part of the thematic partnership, you're supposed to innovate, you're supposed to transfer, you're supposed to deliver. So you're supposed to have capacity. Why are you asking money for building the capacity? We can put it again. I'm totally in line with you, but I don't know.
Yeah, but I'm just, you know, from the point of the civil society organizations, if, I mean, there is a need to participate because of the, you know, vulnerable groups representation, etc., but in this case, I mean, we are never on the equal footage with, you know, other social partners to be both involved and then, you know, to deliver on the same basis as...
In the thematic partnership, the NGOs are more present than social partners. Actually, social partners are, at least trade unions are almost not at all involved. So the balance is not necessarily in the trade unions' favor. But we can mention, again, I'm totally in line with you.
And this is also the question with I'm again going back 3.11 on the vulnerable groups, which actually has the last sentence there, involvement should be ensured. So then in this case, what does it mean, their involvement? Is it just consultations, as you mentioned, you know, participation on the public consultations, etc. So for me, this is not very clear what is the involvement of the communities and vulnerable groups themselves, and what is the organizational, like civil society organizations part and option. So I mean, I'm just raising questions because for me, reading, it's not very clear where and who is actually involved and then participating and about the capacity building. Yeah.
Commission confirmed us that in the call, which is already open, there is a real space for NGOs open. That was not so much in past, now it's like offered to join. On the other hand, there is a process also some like motivation sent from the applicants that they really want to and can contribute to the partnership, that it's like based on a motivation on one side, and on the other side, we should prepare conditions for involvement of such groups like you are describing, because they do not have real capacity to join. Yeah? I can understand you. On the other hand, there are like two
Roman, I say.
I am not sure. You mentioned which paragraph?
3.11, the last.
3.11. Can we see it, please? 3.11.
Yeah.
Their involvement should be ensured. This is the very
Yes,
last sentence.
their involvement should be ensured through the capacity building within the process. It's okay? Yeah. You want to repeat it here or no?
No, I was, taking those two paragraphs and not sure where is, the
thematic partnerships, once you have selected the partners, they have each partnership has sort of consultation phase, if I can put it like this. And you can involve the vulnerable groups there in order to understand, to deliver for them. It's one step. The other step, you can be involved as a civil society organization, part of the thematic partnership, meaning that you have a responsibility to build the regulation, better funding, better knowledge, and so on for the vulnerable groups. And of course, you can participate in the consultation process as any citizen. So if you are looking at all of other thematic partnerships, the vulnerable groups are being integrated, not all of them, but some of them are really integrated, meaning that are taking into account when the thematic partnership is delivering, I don't know, strategy or action plan or things like that. So we are pushing, in the opinion, we are pushing for more involvement of the vulnerable groups in order to deliver better instrument for them in order to solve the problem. I don't know, poverty. We can discuss it. So the involvement is taking into account also. This is why those two paragraphs are a little bit different.
Yeah, I think when you apply to be in thematic partnership, you should be able to deliver and to have capacity. Otherwise, you can't contribute.
In my opinion, we have discussed about the learning process.
Yes.
We were discussing also about CMR. To have, perhaps, I don't know, it is an idea to have two types of partners. Meaning the ones which have not capacity, but they are willing to join the process, and they can learn from the more experimented cities and so on, and the ones which have capacity, in order to open a little bit the debate. Otherwise, you will have the same cities being present. It was a discussion with other stakeholders. I'm not sure if the commission was not. The commission said you should have capacity. That's it.
Yeah,
if
but
you don't have capacity.
I think what we need is maybe better information campaign or something in the member states, because now the call is open. I think nobody knows, except those
contact points which should deliver.
Yeah, but they don't, I mean, in Croatia, contact point is it's in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. What they don't know anything.
It's a guy who is taking some money and.
No, it's because they are dealing with UN, then they are dealing with SDGs, and then with urban agenda, but actually. It's not their mandate, and they don't have any capacity here. So, this information sharing, for example, Urbact is really, we have contact point within the Association of Towns, and that's really working good. But with this, so this information sharing about thematic, I would say that in Croatia, because of this, I mean, 95% of those that might be interested don't know anything about thematic partnership. I don't know how it's in Czech Republic.
With these two partnerships, let's say this is something that everyone is well aware of, that the message sometimes just simply is not distributed to all the possible partners. With these partnerships, the message went not only from the European Commission, but also from our presidency.
Because you are leading it, that's why.
All the member states,
Yeah.
to ask them kindly to distribute it to all the possible partners. And we will also share this message in our newsletter that is distributed to all the municipalities in Czechia. Whether it might be relevant or not to them regarding the size of course, language is a barrier still. So this is for future, maybe a point that might be also addressed in future partnerships, that sometimes small Czech towns and cities don't have the capacity to access the partnerships. On a national level, for example, when we create pilot projects and other initiatives, we now try to include even partners from the smallest towns and villages, because there you see the real problems they are facing. Even though they might not share the solution, then you see if the solution can work for everyone simply, if you include them. So for future, including also the smallest towns is, I think, an answer.
Yeah. Also association of towns, association of municipalities, which have probably better capacities and knowledge. So,
of course, sometimes it's not easy. It seems that the best approach is to directly talk with the mayor, visit the city, call them, just explain them that it's not that we are expecting them to be the best partner, but simply sometimes being a present is just enough that we need. So. You're right.
Roman.
Yeah, I just want to support. If we don't have it now in the 3.11, just the sentence to be complete. I'm supporting their involvement should be ensured through the capacity building within the process.
Yeah, within the process, or
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good idea.
Then we speak about the capacity building, which
We're defining when it's supposed to happen.
Okay, then can we go to 4.2? What is POA? It's not explained anywhere in.
it was
Where?
in the first fact.
Okay. It was, I didn't notice that it was full
Act
name.
of Amsterdam,
Okay.
Sorry.
2.2.
And it's abbreviation as well.
But if we are deleting 2.2, then
Yeah.
Anyway, we will use it.
Pact of, so here then it should be Pact of Amsterdam. Okay. 4.3. It's this new proposal for multi-level stakeholder platform. And my question is, it included all thematic partnership and this circular economy is leading by Commission and our committee. It's the similar, because here, those who don't know about this platform would not understand what is about, or either put the link to the website of the platform or something like that.
The idea also, if you are asking the Commission, they are saying that we don't need another platform because we have enough platforms. Could be an approach, but the idea is that we are not communicating enough. We are not knowing, for example, if you are asking a municipality about the thematic partnership, I don't know, any thematic partnership. I can tell you that it's just an estimation, 90% of the cities, the smaller one, they didn't heard about thematic partnership because our contact point is not really a contact point. So I think that we need to create a specific platform managed by the Commission and by the European Economic and Social Committee, since it is our opinion, in order to deliver more dissemination. And I think that from the strategic point of view, in our committee should be more present in this topic. And we need this kind of approaches in order to be more present, because right now we are seeing a lot of NGOs which are present, but we need tools in order to be more present. It's just my impression. So perhaps they are not agreed, but how you can be integrated in those type of policies, since only the Committee of the Regions, because those are the mayors.
Yeah, but I mean, we have to be realistic. We propose that stronger secretariat or something is needed. And then we propose platform. It's a huge work, and first I don't know if our committees really have capacity to maintain another platform like social, like circular economy, and we would like to be involved more in future continuation of COFOE. So we have to be realistic, you know. I'm not, as you mentioned, Commission is not so eager about this, and actually we have to check within the committee if we can deliver that what we ask. And my personal opinion is that we should ask that there is a stronger secretariat within the Commission or something like that. And this, before put it in the final text, we have to see within the committee if this is that committee really wants.
No, but we are not saying that the committee should be present. This is why we are not saying the committee should be present. In my opinion, I think it should be, but I'm not entitled to decide.
But actually, thematic partnership is kind of multi-level stakeholder.
Yeah, but in how many thematic partnership it is the committee right now?
No, I'm not talking about committee. I'm talking, here it said ESC suggests that a multi-level stakeholder platform be established under EU guidelines to ensure the exchange of best practices, but that can be done by stronger secretariat and some joint activities.
I have you can cut it. It's for me.
I'm just putting this to think about, because we have to be really, I'm not saying it would not be a good idea, but we have 14 now plus 2 thematic workshop, it's not functional. And now another SOPRA platform, and nobody, it's all on the voluntary basis. And platform needs time and cost. You know, we have website, we have to fill in the website, we have these conferences and so on. I just posed the question if it is realistic.
Commission said that they will elaborate some new web page.
Yeah.
There's this opportunity to disseminate information will be accessible for everybody. So this is their proposal how to solve it. And there is also European Week of Regions and Cities as a platform, little bit similar to this circular economy platform. I have own experience with this Just Transition platform, which is really excellent way how to attract all these stakeholders on one place or on one online space and to discuss. So that's why I liked the idea at the beginning, but on the other hand, it's probably very idealistic vision that we will have it, because they have no capacity at the moment.
That's why I'm posing this question, you know.
This would be like platform under platforms.
Yeah, it's SOPRA.
Such necessary. Yeah.
So
I agree. Okay. So we will.
I would not delete it completely, in a sense that either here, either somewhere else to repeat that we need this stronger secretariat and better.
Yes, that's another point.
Yeah, and better information spread and so on. That's really what is needed. And information within the member states, not just through focal points. So that I would certainly leave. That's necessary. But I would be very cautious about multi-level stakeholder platform. So I don't know what others think. I speak too much, I think.
If all of us are not convinced that it's good to do it. So.
It's not if it's good, if it's realistic.
It's realistic, yeah.
Romane.
In this case, I'm not sure.
Again, we can cut it, but we have to think to have some instrument in order to push the committee in this topic. Because it's a huge topic from all point of view.
But we can...
What instrument do we have? We have thematic partnership, of course, but we are not in...
Yeah, but we could maybe apply, and now it's open, and we have different...
We can apply. You cannot mention the opinion that you can... we were invited to apply several times.
Yeah.
We're supposed to deliver solutions, you know, using our
but
opinion.
how we can be, if it's even more effort through platform, how we can be involved if we couldn't be members of the partner. I'm just asking, posing questions. Don't take me wrong, you know.
No, I can deliver you an answer, but
okay.
Anyway, we can cut it. Let's cut it if everyone is agreed. We can mention, when we are mentioning the secretariat, we can mention a phrase linked to this. We can do it like this. But again, my opinion is that we need the instrument in order to be present in the subject.
Yeah,
and
but
if you are present in a thematic partnership, you are not being present into the subject. You are being present in the thematic partnership, which is very thematic. You know, we need to be present in the governance of those partnerships because we are European actors.
Yeah, but can we have this strong secretariat that we
We should ask Krista about it because I don't know.
No, because we can propose that we have that in the secretariat there is kind of a body that encompass different institutions, including our committee.
We can cut it. Let's cut it. And I cannot give you an answer because I don't know how many.
Because we can't propose something that maybe committees, you know, we as a group think is okay, but we have to see with the committee.
Propose to cut it.
Okay.
Okay.
Group 1 propose cut.
This part of...
But we will have a sentence about the secretariat.
Yes, and...
something what is needed for the partnership, and the partners said it, that it's necessary to have a stronger support.
Yes, yeah, we mentioned,
Yeah.
So we will not cut it, we will rephrase it.
Yes.
We will mention it.
Rephrase.
That is important to say.
Yes, secretariat we will mention it into the point with the secretariat.
Yeah, okay, sorry for...
No, don't.
But I really wanted to be...
We in Prague because it's okay.
Okay.
It's time to talk.
4-4. I have a question, but more to, if you can make it clear to me. Thematic partnerships should substantially contribute to the fair distribution of the cost of the climate and digital transition. Is it through proposal, through action plan, on how they can do? How they can contribute to the fair distribution of costs? I mean, I didn't understand well. If you can explain me, maybe I'm...
Proposed to also delete it.
Because they don't have funds and
the goal of the thematic.
they don't have actually any power.
We agree that we will cut this paragraph.
Okay.
But again, sorry, we can cut the paragraph, but protecting democracy and democratic value, I think, should be mentioned.
As well as combating poverty, investing in skills, etc.
I'm not, I'm just making a point on fair distribution of the costs.
The idea is the following one.
Okay.
Perhaps this sentence could be cut.
I mean, it should be at least rephrased to be understandable, because they don't have money, they don't have...
It is not, it's metaphorical, because the actual thing is that we need to have climate and digital transitions. There is need for climate and digital transitions, and people will get worse from this situation. The thematic partnerships are coming to help for the wounds that will be caused because of this transition.
I understand the point, but when you read, I'm just talking about the wording. They should substantially contribute to the fair distribution.
Yes.
They should support, or they should advocate for, not that...
Climate and digital transition are transversal problem, where you can find it in almost all the thematic partnerships. You know, this is our core problem in Europe right now.
It's horizontal.
Yes, even if you are looking at housing, green cities, tourism, and so on. So when the thematic partnership is being built by the most, not necessarily powerful, the most knowledgeable, if I can say like this. So the responsibility of having a fair treatment of the cost should be in each thematic partnership. This is the general idea of the...
I completely agreed, but how I read, maybe my English is not good.
Substantially, meaning through the pillars of the thematic partnership, which are better funding, better regulation, and better knowledge. It is mentioned, we cannot mention almost everything in each sentence because the pillars are there.
But is it contribute or advocate for?
It's contributing because it is a living instrument which can be used by other cities. But we can cut it. The idea is that we need to have in mind that this should be, the fair distribution of cost should be a transversal aspect, as we can mention like this. Fair distribution of cost should be transversal as, climate and digital transition is, or things like that. Because in the structure, in the definition of thematic partnership, this is their reason to exist. You know, they are delivering innovation, knowledge for the rest of the cities. And when they are doing it, they have to take into account the fair distribution of cost. This was the
Okay,
this is the approach.
I rest my case.
No. We are here to discuss. We are here to...
No, that's what I wanted to clarify for myself, so
But
thank you.
we can rephrase it. We can, I don't know, if you are not, if it is not understandable. David, what is your opinion? If you want to cut it, because...
No, I'm not, I'm just...
No, David wants to...
It's all only like another good but general input. So I was thinking about cut it. That was the reason, not because it's not right. It's right. But we probably will shorten it and write it here.
Okay. Page 4-5. Me again. Should we say thematic partnership should be or are driving forces? Because now they are really not driving. That's my question. I don't think so.
If you are asking the Commission, they will say that there are. If you are asking other, they say they should.
Okay, I leave it to you. That was just my.
Should be.
But how deep can be this commission? We can our own also opinion.
No. We didn't insert it everything what the Commission wants. You should see the position of the Commission. But we can be.
Because if we say they are driving forces, then we say, okay, they work very good. But if we say should be the driving force, then we see that it should be better.
Perhaps we can mention like this: thematic partnership are driving forces behind the transformation of some cities. Because for the ones which are inside the partnership, yes, for the ones which are outside the partnership, no.
I would rather stay with should, but it's up to you.
I even think that there should be could.
Could,
Or
yeah,
could, yeah.
Could is better. Could
Yeah.
is better. Yeah, could is better.
Okay.
What has been consensus? No, super, no?
Could is better.
Could, maybe.
Okay, 4-6. Any comments? I have. Sorry.
Okay.
I read it really carefully several times. In 4-6, I think we should mention urban mobility among these topics. And urban-rural connection, especially as we have this ESC topic on holistic approach to rural-urban connections, but it can be also mentioned in 4-12, because there is mention in the last sentence this complementary between urban and rural areas. But I think somewhere this because it's our own initiative opinion, and we adopted it, I think, last year. So I think it might be good to make a reference to it.
Perhaps on 4 point, we are on 4.6, yeah?
Yes.
Perhaps we can cut the first sentence, challenges and development, for urban development and objectives. It's a good phrase, but it's taking too much characters, and we are all aware about our challenges. So perhaps it's not creating any added value.
Yeah, you mean include the
Fact, yeah, like fact.
Yeah.
Okay, I agree.
Yeah.
So it would be
To start from the ESCC believes that the future partnership should.
okay.
Yes, I think it might be good.
It's too long, so.
Yeah, I agree.
Challenges we are deleting, yeah?
Yeah.
Yes, and I'm glad that you put reference to SDGs.
And do we add this urban mobility and this rural urban?
Then urban-rural can be in 4.12 mentioned.
Okay.
And urban mobility, we delete all topics, then we can delete, we don't have to put it here.
And also urban mobility can be mentioned where Roman said earlier to mention all the instruments. I think it would be mentioned also there.
Civitas, yes, yeah. And 4.7, here Civitas and similar initiatives could be mentioned as, for example, let's say, because here is mentioned thematic clusters, thematic networks, and it might be good to have concrete examples, for example.
Many some other maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I just
don't know, but-
Civitas and Civinets because I am involved in this.
Yeah, but if you are mentioning one,
Yeah,
the other would say, why did you mention that one? This was the idea.
maybe we can put existing thematic networks because, there are,
Could be an approach.
Yeah.
But not mentioning the name.
okay, you can,
No, it's just an opinion. It's just.
yeah. Okay, 4.8. 4.9 4.9.
I have a 4.8, but David already knows.
Which one? 4.9.
Or 8.
8, okay.
To mention the thematic action plans that should
To you.
strengthen the coordination between thematic action plans, because we have, for example, in a thematic partnership, we have an action plan, but if you're looking at operational program, or there is a different action plan, or there is no connection between the action plans of the different thematic partnerships, because the topics, right, when we are saying about the better coordination, some of the thematic partnerships have an action plan which is in opposite to other action plan of the thematic partnership. So
I think it's a good point.
it's they are in antagonist situation because they are not coordinated. Meaning each thematic partnership is independent, you know. But how you can make green cities without increasing, I don't know, you just can't imagine, without increasing the cost of the housing. And if you're looking at thematic partnership of the housing, you are trying to make them more affordable and so on. So it's an antagonist situation. It's just.
Yes, it can be connected with 410 when we ask for this secretariat and enough resources. Maybe we can put here coordination.
But I think he's mentioned coordination.
I mean, we now provocate Commission to increase these expenses for this bureaucrat.
They don't want.
We're so expensive, and
For a useful
I think
thing.
we not needed now to motivate them to increase more effective way of working.
The cities, some cities are not even motivated to participate because they don't have an EU agenda. They have only a local agenda, or they have an agenda at the national level. They are not interested, but perhaps they have capacity, but they are not incentivized. Why I should be part of a thematic partnership? For labor, for publicity, why?
Yeah, but anyhow, we can't expect that all can be part of thematic partnership.
No, but we cannot
Because
expect
some,
also only to have the same cities like it is happening right now.
yeah. Okay. 411. No, 410 we didn't. Yeah. Any comments? Do we have this in conclusion now? I'm too tired to remember.
Yeah, we have.
We have, okay. 411. I would just say maybe to put link to knowledge sharing platform so that people can access that.
Sorry, I didn't understand it.
Knowledge sharing platform, maybe we can put link so people can access easier.
Yeah, just web page, yeah?
Yeah.
But somebody during the discussion talk about this cohesion policy should be, like additional instrument to the territorial development.
4.11.
In this case,
No, I have the.
we just between.
I deleted something. And
But my opinion is maybe take into account this what this colleague from Czech Republic said today. He says so cohesion policy should be focusing to the territorial policy.
Yeah, but if
But from this line you can understand this. Now it's like equal right for both for this UAE in cohesion. To their colleagues from Czech Republic, they said this cohesion policy should be really.
our initial approach, you have a point here, our initial approach was to mention, in the first draft, the cohesion policy was transversally mentioned in the opinion. And then, and the Commission has a point here, there are two different instruments. Now the Czech presidency wants to combine them, if I understood correctly. And it's good that they want to combine them because they have similar instruments, they are operating with similar instruments. This was also my approach. I'm totally in line with you. But the Commission, and it has a point, said, no, there are two different instruments right now. Of course, we can combine it. This is what we are saying in the opinion. That the synergy between them should be strengthened. But there are two different instruments, and they are right here.
now it's like two parallel things
Yeah.
now, cohesion policy and budget, and we
The
offer...
synergy. Where is the synergy?
This is what we are suggesting. But the Commission, again, was, they were somehow telling us, you don't know what you are talking about. It's a different instrument. You are not, it was like this, the discussion. But in reality, the Czech presidency wants now to combine them because, again, monitoring committees.
Maybe for the beginning, the first step to strengthen, and then maybe.
Yeah, hopefully.
Hopefully.
This is why we are saying even this. Okay. This is why we are saying that even these are two distinct
Group one
policies.
agree.
Sorry.
Group one agree.
This is why in the second sentence we are mentioning even these are two distinct policies and initiatives with different objectives. Synergy should exist, notably in the scope. This is why we're in this.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we are trying to create a common ground.
Yeah, it's correct.
I may. It's a question whether we are really comparing similar instruments. We can see them as two instruments, but maybe the European agenda for the EU is not a real instrument. It might be seen as a real input for the cohesion policy.
Right.
So that's just the question. If I look at it from the perspective of not the national and expert level, but from the perspective of cities, is the partnerships are creating two instruments. And one of the instruments can be seen as a cohesion policy, but it's not the sole instrument. Maybe there are other instruments as a national recovery plan, for example. And
It's not an instrument. What is it?
the urban agenda of the EU.
How you will define it?
It's a kind of instrument, but it's not the same instrument as the cohesion policy.
This is what we are saying. It's a different instrument, but we cannot mention the opinion. It's a kind of instrument, but
You are right.
in the logic of the Commission, and again, they have a point. They are saying that it's a different game, but we are operating with the same tools. So why do we need such your approach earlier was okay. Why do we need another kind of instrument since we have cohesion policy?
Yes, but the cohesion policy needs some inputs, some results of something that can be then taken into account.
Thematic partnership has also. If they are not having, the thematic partnership is not efficient, but it's supposed to deliver tools and so on, which can be financed. Or
It's about this programming and this like two steps, that you define something well, good policy, and then finance it. Maybe we will make a note about this programming yet.
Yeah.
In this.
But if you are looking at thematic partnership agreement, there is no synergy between them.
Not now, but we now offering for the future that this new thematic partnership will contribute to the programming of the next cohesion policy.
And we are mentioning also more legitimacy. This is why, because we have to take into account, we have to recognize the role of this is also our view. But again, it was a big discussion with the Commission, which is not seeing it. For them, thematic partnership is a sort of debating framework in which we can improve the regulation, access to the funds, and so on. We think that is more than that. But again,
I have made a note that this involvement of this outputs of the thematic partnership in a programming of the cohesion policy is one of the inputs from the ministry. So we will put it in this paragraph here.
Okay.
It's synergy between ministry participant in ECASOC.
It is.
Okay. Can we go to 4.12?
here I am mentioning, just to know all of you, social reconstruction should be taken into account in the urban development policies. Because in some areas, this economic model has affected deeply the social model of some cities. So I think that we need to have a sort of sort of social reconstruction due to these neoliberal policies and so on. So
It's like building cohesion within in that
you can
sense.
say like this, it's more wide, just not to put the...
Okay, I'm just asking, okay. And here, if it's...
Is it the social reconstruction some kind of technical
No, it's a
definition?
transversal team. No, we don't, no, it's not recognized by, no, it's a sort of, it's a concept.
It's a concept, but recognized already. It's not like just your idea. It's like already understandable
No, it's not
for everybody.
recognized. No, it's not recognized. It's not recognized. It's
Because
a group to approach, if I can.
Group to approach, okay.
I
Understand.
ask as well because we don't use much social reconstruction. That's why I'm asking if...
What does it mean? In fact?
Yeah, that's... I think you should a little bit explore in where we use this social...
We can skip it. We can skip it since we have...
No, it's just...
we can skip it. We have a lot of social in the opinion.
I don't mind. I just, what David mentioned, it's a matter if it's understandable to all. What does it mean? Social reconstruction.
The idea of...
Use social reconstruction.
The idea is that since we want to have a sort of well-being economy, you cannot discuss about well-being economy without a social tissue, which is very well consolidated.
No, we understand what you are talking about, and I think it's good point, but I think David and me are asking, and Dovil also mentioned that we don't use the term social reconstruction so often that it is immediately understandable.
Just to be honest, social reconstruction is meaning, it's recognizing that we have a social imbalance right now, so this is why
I think we get your point, just the...
Maybe use different expression maybe for the same thing.
Yes, that was the point.
If we are using different expression, we will dilute and we can cut it. It's enough. We have vulnerable groups. We have mentioned working conditions.
So we will cut it, yeah?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, and here, if you find it properly, you can put link to our holistic approach to rural urban connections opinion that was adopted last year, but I don't insist.
But we have also on 4.7, I think we have mentioned rural areas. Perhaps there we can. I think it's a good point, Lydia.
Yeah. Okay. Somewhere. Mm-hmm.
4.7, perhaps it's better.
Okay.
A footnote, right? Do you want a footnote? Or?
Yeah.
But can you send us the link just to be sure that...
Yes, okay. I have to find this. Mm-hmm. 4 yes.
I have this, I'm not sure, this is paragraph 412, yeah?
Yeah.
So I don't know from whom, 2 sentences as a last sentences, and it's the same what you said, so I'm not sure if we incorporate it another way, but the sentences are, the thematic partnership action plans should contribute for the above mentioned. Also, the coordination of the implementation of the action plans should be strengthened.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do we have this?
It is my input, but I'm not sure if...
Because I had it here, 412, so just to be sure that we have it somewhere, yeah? Okay.
I think that the thematic,
the
action plans
I agree.
you mentioned,
I agree.
it's an important instrument.
Just not to forget it.
Do you know that it?
Yeah.
They are mentioned, yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
413. 414. 415. I would here add, besides strategic planning, maybe strategic foresight and diverse scenarios, because it is also mentioned in Leipzig Charter as predictive and preventive policies. And now we talk in EU a lot about its strategic foresight. We even have the reports, and we have commissioner for foresight.
Strategic foresight and the planning should be there also, and should we delete planning or?
No, planning it's after first strategic foresight and diverse scenarios, and then strategic planning.
Strategic foresight and scenarios?
Yeah, okay, you can.
Scenarios.
Yeah, scenarios.
And planning, yeah?
And strategic planning, because after this foresight and different scenarios, you go to strategic planning.
Yeah, good point. There is also a suggestion from Florian, digital democracy.
Yeah, since we are discussing about digital justice, perhaps we can have digital democracy. It's a concept which I think is important, that you don't have that many democracy in any digital tools, because they are being controlled by, I don't know, but perhaps it's going too far. In my opinion, digital democracy should be besides digital justice and digital transition.
Yes,
otherwise
we can mention it, and on the last plenary we adopted of Dimitru Fornea, rapporteur on digital rights and identity. It's a long, so maybe you can see if this is valid reference for this.
It is because I know for it.
And why not promote here our opinions as well? Okay, and now we are into conclusion and recommendation. So, 1-1.
Strongly support.
Okay.
Only one small adding, sustainable urban development. Yeah,
yes.
For sustainable.
Yeah. Absolutely. 1-2.
There is also suggestion from the European Commission transferring results, the second sentence, to the other member states, regions,
I agree.
member states.
Yes.
And then I also suggest the territorial distribution and geographical balance of these opportunities.
Yes.
We will put it as a colleague from ministry said, yeah, geographical balance.
Great. 1-3.
Yeah, I want one more
Yes.
sentence.
Which one?
1-3, last sentence, new one. For implementation of the action plans to the cities should be used methodologically integrated tools as community-led local development in urban areas. CLDU.
I think it's a good point, but it has to be mentioned also in the text, in the specific.
There is.
We edit it now. ITI and CLLD.
They are done.
In the conclusion, we don't have anything on linked to action plans, and we're supposed to have.
Okay. We can accept.
Yeah, so.
I will send it to you. Yeah, David.
Okay.
1-4.
The action plans, yeah, we have also. As you propose, sorry.
Yeah, well,
also
we can rephrase it as, because it's more or less the same thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, 1-5. I have just one, it's not necessary, but the ESC believes that the criteria used for selecting partners in or within thematic partnership, that it's clear to all that we think about thematic partnership. I know your point. I know. That's why I'm just, it's my flow of mind when I am reading, so.
You're more logical now, way what you said. You look for logical.
Yes.
Selecting partners for thematic partnership, yeah? Yeah,
in thematic partnership. I'm not insisting, I just follow my stream of.
No, it's okay.
1-6. This is copy-paste from the text.
Maybe equal opportunities.
Yes, equal opportunities. But then we have to add in a paragraph inside. I don't know which one.
We're discussing about fairness, I don't know. It doesn't necessarily to be copied past.
Yes.
Okay. 1.17. Okay, 1.8.
There is comment from the Commission that the Ljubljana Agreement itself, it has no governance because it's on a statement. Yeah? There is a suggestion that instead of Ljubljana Agreement to put urban agenda of the EU. Yeah.
I think it's better.
Yeah, but if we are mentioning global agenda, no. It's supposed to, the Ljubljana Agreement should remain. Because if you are reading the Ljubljana Agreement, the governance part is mentioned in the Ljubljana Agreement.
Yeah,
the
but
agenda of the EU is too big.
We can mention not just Ljubljana Agreement, but this implementing part.
Ljubljana Agreement should be there, in my opinion.
Okay.
Or we can mention EU urban agenda and Ljubljana Agreement, if you want, because they are two different. If you are reading the Ljubljana Agreement, it is mentioned very, very clear.
Yeah, multi-level governance.
No, which organization should do what.
Okay, yes.
We must edit the Ljubljana Agreement. This is what we are asking.
So both of them, yeah?
Yeah, okay. And there is just tip feller, a roll in, it's together. I think it should be a roll.
Yeah, roll in, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And if I can, we also had a comment on this 1.8 that it stated that the ESC should have a role in the urban agenda technical preparatory group. But let me explain the technical preparatory group. It was designed to be smaller than it is currently, and the body is becoming hard to steer. It's becoming too big. So I think in future there will be discussion about not, let's say, enlarging this group, but to make it smaller again. It's right now the last meeting. I think there were more than 30, maybe even 40 people, and it was designed for, let's say, 15, maximum 20 people. So
The idea is you can make it smaller with European Economic and Social Committee. We are not against making it smaller, but we are saying that we must be part since the Committee of the Region is there. And the Committee of the Region is not covering the economic and social aspects.
the problem is that we are then duplicating the UDG. I think the UDG is the main platform where the Committee of Regions and the ESC can be a part of. It makes the most sense. So it's just a suggestion from our side. We are not insisting on it, but it's something that we will also discuss.
Yeah. I think that this should be, we should have some objectives, institutional objectives when we are writing the opinion.
Yes.
One of the institutional objectives should be that we must be part in the governance of the Ljubljana Agreement and UDG and so on. I think this is the core of the opinion. We cannot delete it. It's just my impression. And just to give you some example, we can discuss it. I can give you my contact. There is no institutional coherence since you have Committee of the Regions. If they are there only that they have municipalities inside, and you have other NGOs, networks, which are of course important, but they have some of them have no institutional recognition. European Economic and Social Committee has an institutional recognition. It is recognized as being consulted by the Parliament and by the Council.
It's a formal body.
Yeah, and it is not there.
It is the umbrella for all this.
Yeah, and you are discussing about consultation. Since you want to consult, you have to consult the institutions which are recognized by you as as European Union, as representing the civil society, for example, and not inserted the umbrella organizations which are not part of the European Economic and Social Committee. It's not an institutional coherence. So we are asking to the Czech presidency to be very pushy in this, and which, of course, we can work with you, can offer, I don't know, support and so on, just to be near the Committee of the Regions, because we are complementary.
It's true. It's just my comment was about the UATPG, about just this body. It's becoming simply too big. So it is the position of our team that
We are not against you can cut it, because if you are looking at the structure, this was also our impression, because there are too many and we are not there.
And we are mentioned in the agreement.
Yeah.
We are
I worked a
mentioned
lot.
as having a role, so, specifically. So it is really not logical that we are not part of the
problem,
governance.
I can tell you that mentioning in the Ljubljana agreement, it was a problem of timing, because we sent our proposal, but then the Slovenia presidency, I think it was, he didn't, that lady didn't have enough time to edit the final version. So this was the idea. It's as Lydia is mentioning, we are being mentioned in some part, but we are not being mentioned in the governance. So it's a weakness of the Ljubljana, of the agreement itself. This is why we are asking. I know it's just David, I will make an amendment for this, really.
No, I'm fine with it. I'm just wondering if the technical preparatory group is so important for us, but if you want it...
We must be horizontally involved in the Ljubljana agreement, we as a committee. It's just not in some parts and in other not. If you are mentioning, I don't know, the NGOs which...
maybe I can still explain the core reason why the UATPG has been created. It wasn't there always. It's just a new body. It was created, I think, like possibly 3-4 years ago. It's that the UDG is simply too big to have a meaningful discussion. It was the origin of the UATPG was that it was meant to be just for an extended trial format with the European Commission. Now the body is becoming too big to steer, to have a discussion in 10-15 members. It's fine if you have a discussion in 30 members, you have a lengthy meeting, and then you have 2 UDGs.
Yeah, we are agreed, we are not against it. We just, my opinion, you can decrease the number, but we as a committee, we must be part in that.
So I think where I see your opinion as beneficial is actually the UDG. There is the level where it's not just for member states, it's also for the Commission, for the organizations, for the social committee, for, let's say, there you need to have a, let's say, multi-level governance, more represented than the case of the UATPG, which is like a working body preparing a working meeting of the UDG. If that's understandable as I try to present it right now.
We understand, but again.
I will just say I was in the meetings of UDG the last years, and I promote our membership several times. We don't have the support from the Committee of Regions. This is very important. But from my point of view, where is the Committee of the Region as a member? European Economic and Social Committee with the other aspects of development have to be member too.
Yes, exactly. It's also the idea.
Exactly, this is the case.
So we'll be very pushy about it. I can tell you that in every meeting in which I will go, I will be very pushy about it. I can tell you, and I can be very pushy.
No opposition about this for us.
And we want to have you as an ally, because again, it's about the institutional coherence, and that's it.
I think I've included a comment to this version that this needs to be approved by also other member states.
Of course.
Definitely.
Yes.
Definitely.
But your presidency can propose it.
I think it's also a possibility to use the UDG or the DGR meeting when we have the opinion ready to present it there and to propose this as well there.
The proposals to be there, to have what to present. Yeah.
That's why it's not harm to propose it, because we know it's part of the member states have to agree. But if we don't propose, then there's no issue. we want to raise the issue so that something starts to begin to deal with the issue that our committee wants also to be active on that.
I think anyway we will still be in contact about this opinion, so this we can discuss still yet because the program of the UDG and DGUM is still not decided, so there's still space for this.
We have 13 and 14 September. Yeah?
Sorry, once again?
13 and 14 September is the first meeting of UDG and
Exactly.
territorial.
It's the
We will raise it there.
13 is the NTCCP meeting,
And 14 is the UDG.
14 is the UDG, and then you have a DGUM meeting, which is on the 26th of October.
To the 6th of October.
And we can use this opportunity to propose. You can use it. And the opinion,
The opinion will be discussed and adopted in the eco section. So it will be about to be adopted in the plenary. So it will be somehow
we connected.
formal.
It might be ready for the DGUM on 26th of October.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. It will be, it will be adopted on plenary in September.
It's the right timing.
Yeah. Okay, thank you for understanding.
And for your support, because there's really similarities between Committee of the Regions and our committee. It's so clear that we should be in the same role on the process. So that's the main idea behind it.
You know, and so I'm sorry to interrupt on this, because we had the same discussion also with the Commission. And the Commission told us that, you know, the Pact of Amsterdam, the Ljubljana Agreement is about cities and mayors. But we understand this and we follow that the European Committee of Regions is the key player because it is about the cities themselves. But what we said also in this meeting is that the mayors of the cities are not just the cities themselves. It's not about what one mayor can say. The mayor cannot decide everything for his own city. It is the local community, so the civil society, that help him to address issues and develop all the policies of the whole region. And this is why we think that the civil society has to play an active role in this.
As I see the opinion, I see a lot of points that simply member states have a similar opinion. So I think it's the right opportunity to stress this out. And if member states see the ESC as a kind of body that the opinion has the similar, like that we are aiming in the right direction, I think it can go hand in hand then.
It's not a competition with the Committee of Regions. We don't want to take out the Committee of Regions at us. We want to have the same role as they have. This is the issue. Huh?
Okay, I think we clear this topic now and hope for the best and to push it together. Thank you. One point. Yes.
Thing. I think that the Committee of Region is also not part of the UATPG, so that is
okay. We have to check.
So that is something, but it is part of the UDG. So that is just what basically my comment originally like.
Okay, we have to check this. Did you check?
Let's pass it.
Okay. Okay. Until you are checking, let's move to 1.9. Here in the previous text, actually it was besides participatory democracy and economy of well-being, rural-urban connection were mentioned, and I think it's deleted now.
Do you want to put it?
I would like to, because it's my topic, but Roman, what? Yeah. If it's possible, okay. And because it's mentioned in many documents, including rural vision, and rural vision was also mentioned in Ljubljana agenda, and connectivity, you know, in mobility plans. So I think it's important to mention it. Okay.
Because there are many such important topics.
I know. This is my proposal.
Okay, I see.
You don't have to take it. So 110. Yeah, we have to either delete it or rephrase it. Yes.
Rephrase. And I have one suggestion. What about we can do a step as a friendly step and to ESC guidance together with Committee of Regions.
But we are opting not to have platform.
But we said that we will support something as a body, yeah?
Yeah, but we have to rephrase it,
Yeah.
but we can put, if it's fitting in rephrasing, towards Committee of Regions.
Yeah, so I just, my comment is
I understand.
that we will offer ECOSOC and Committee of Regions together that will care for this, for something.
For secretariat or platform?
I don't know.
We deleted platform, but we would like to have dedicated secretariat,
Yeah.
and then we can offer to be ally or partner in implementing activity, and hopefully with core.
This call.
Yeah.
It's a friendly gesture.
There are, if you're looking, excuse me, the Committee of the Regions are part of the
Yes, I have just found the other. So I think it's just a matter of future discussion with member states and European Commission whether we want the UATPG as large as it is now. But for right now, I take my comments back.
Our message is that you will propose, our request through this opinion is that you will propose this, and of course, if it would be voted, of course, but we need the presidency to propose it.
Yes, it's just, I will only repeat myself, but it's a position of my team just to have this body as helpful as they can be to all of us. If we have a group that should have been small, but now is becoming too big, it's not the right scenario. And we started with just the UDG and the DGUM, and the UDG I think is still the main body where all the proposals has to be presented at the working level. So it's the most important thing where we need where we need everyone included.
Look, you have core and you have also CMR. It's overlapping if you are looking from, and you have also Eurocities.
Yeah.
So again, for better institutional coherence, we are here to offer the entire support, but we have arguments, strong arguments, in order to.
It's also a question with the UATPG. There is some still open position, still open space for the presidency to invite who they want to invite. For example, at this UATPG, we had Germany because we used some of their experts as help for partnerships. So it was a meaningful thing to include them, but they are not formally a member as their presidency is now not in past 3 presidencies. So it's a complicated manner with the UATPG, and I'm sorry I'm taking too much time of our discussion already.
Sorry for us also because we were so pushy about
Maybe just short recommendation. Sometimes when we have a large group, we select partner with the voting power, and the others who are also attending the meeting, but more like listeners. Sometimes they contribute, but they do not take active part so much. And then it's more manageable. So it's just a recommendation. And of course, we want to be the voting partner. It's just for.
not just for fun, just for.
Just for to be clear.
Okay, thank you. I think we finish with going through all chapters. And now I know that we are all tired now, but just to agree how to proceed. We shall not have study groups, and I thought it's not. I just want to confirm that we all have the same information, and I think based on these inputs, when you prepare the new draft, you can send to all of us to read it and maybe some final tuning before the ECO meeting in September.
If you can leave a few days for your written comments, if you have any.
Yes, that's what I'm saying now. So when you think you will have...
We were thinking together with Florian that in 1 week time we are ready to finalize it and send you the final version. But probably there will be the proofreading and this
The first thing is that if you want to send comments before you start writing the final document, you need to send the documents, the comments until next week, the beginning of next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, so that they have time to make the new final document. When they finish the new document, you want again the final document to see it.
If they think it's good for them.
Okay, this is...
You think it's...
in order not to have any amendments in the section, because
yes,
in the section, could be, but in order to have an easy process, send also the written document, because otherwise we'll circulate the document between us and will not arrive, because other ideas will come up, that's for sure.
Yeah, so you will send us, who wants...
You will send us the written comments as a normal procedure.
Yeah.
We will insert the comments.
If you have.
If you have comments, of course, in the draft. If David is agreed, we can send it before, and we can agree, I don't know, in modifying some things before sending to Mr. Melas in order to use the material in the section meeting.
Yeah, but please take into our account that we have also the August vacations who will be here, so it's not going to be an easy task. So we have next week and the beginning of the other week. Send your comments until Monday, Tuesday, the maximum.
Always open.
They will insert them. They will finalize the document, and then they can send it to you for also commenting it. And then we have to send it for translation because...
Yes, I know that timing is tough.
Okay, next Tuesday, deadline for comments, okay?
Which is a lot. Usually we have 2 days, 3 days, or 1 week.
Okay, you probably will not get any...
That's fine.
You probably don't get any comments, but okay, let's put Tuesday.
We made notes about your comments. So probably if you have a good sentence to use it, please send it. And then in a week time, we will send you the draft here, finalized together with my co-rapporteur and expert.
And if you have comments, small comments, just send us the updated material. But
I think we really went thoroughly through all that. I don't think it will be, so feel free to decide if you want to send it or not.
I don't feel that there is much disagreement among us, so probably thank you for this
just more
open approach.
And some presentation, urban in number. Remember, GDP was short of 75% and many other good things. But then demography, 15 or 20%, very bad figures, because urban people living urban lazy become. Second, about emission. It's emission, 90% or something would show, 85%.
Oh, no, 70, more than 70.
Okay, more than 70. But maybe, I don't know, no idea how this, but it's critical, of course. Demography, but for business, absolutely critical, because business, if you would like to develop, you need resources. No,
Yeah.
today people how much burn and then go to pension much higher, much more people going to pension and less. It just starts small.
A huge threat for Hollywood.
Not to be lazy, you should understand.
That's advisor, okay.
You know, if you want to ask youth to work more, you should pay more. Sorry.
Or better condition.
Pay and better condition. sorry.
Okay, thank you very much, Lydia, and rapporteur, co-rapporteur, and advisor, expert. Really, very well. I think it's very good by was idea to come really before last hour bidding. Yeah, it's very seldom usage like this approach, but it's really you can see how so many people sitting was in line with us. Mm-hmm. Practically nobody who something refused, but just added.
Yeah, but you have to take into account that the major stakeholders have been consulted. CMR, Eurocities, so not a regular, if I can say, circuit of the opinion. Actually, we are waiting also for UN Habitat. We are waiting for, which are, I don't know, one of the most important organizations in the world in this. So basically, the work for this opinion was quite intensive, and I'm thanking you, Mr. Meleas, and to the Secretary, because they're really pushing us in order to have a...
And we were also at the World Urban Forum, and we get really important inputs and met a lot of people. So thank you, Vitais, for the conclusion. I would also like to thank to all of you for the contribution, Roman for effort to have it here, and of course to Secretariat and Georgios, who was really helpful. It is enjoyable to work on such opinions, and we are really all
We lost the dinner yesterday.
Yeah, sorry for that. We had a nice dinner. But you will enjoy on the boat tonight, so you can repeat the dinner. Yeah. We ate some, except Roman, we had some Czech speciality. Roman ate salmon.
Roman is salmon?
Yeah.
From the river.
And also thanks to the ministry for the premises, for the effort, for all the help. I think it's a real good example of possible cooperation for the common good. So thank you very much, and also to Deputy Minister who stay really a lot of time with us and have this great presentation. So please thank him and other colleagues, Renat and others, on our behalf for all the
First,
help.
I will share, and it goes vice versa also to you for helping us with this event today.
Okay, very nice evening. And interpreter, thank you very much.
Of course. Thank you very much to stay all the time with us. It's Friday afternoon, and thank you for that.
Maybe one more idea.
And one picture.
One picture together, but the idea is economic and social committee as we are, and as you saw the numbers, 85% of GDP in cities, and people are moving to cities. This is the social part. So these urban agenda issues are so close to our committee that probably we should be more active in this field. Yeah.
Yeah.
And thank you, President.